I don't know how to start this video off, and I really don't like to go political on this channel, but I feel like I gotta put my 2 cents in this. Um, I I sort of I'm a subscriber of Philip DeFranco, and I saw one of his videos that caught my attention about the death of Mr. Floyd. And I've always been that guy, who would say stop, wait for facts, because I don't want it to just blow up in my face where I came out and was against this or was for that, yada yada. But based on what I've seen, all the video evidence, everything, it turns out these guys were in the wrong. Now, what makes this difficult for me to make a video like this is, like, once again, I don't like to make political videos because I give one side attacking me, another side attacking me, or just both sides attacking me. Because I like to be that Tim Pool type of guy, the milquetoast fence center, the one that sits in the middle of all of this. And what I have to say about this most likely I may get attacked for, but you know what? Forget it. Let me just say it. These police were wrong. 100% wrong. Everything they did from beginning to end was wrong. And I'm gonna touch on that as soon as possible. But I like to really talk about what we're doing. It's not the solution. All this rioting, this destruction, it's not the solution. It doesn't send a clear message to what's going on. But back to what I was gonna say on how these police officers did this all wrong. From the looks of it, in the beginning, it looks like yeah, he was non-compliant, but it most likely seemed like he was probably asking questions. Like, for example, why are you pulling me over? Why are you doing this? Yada, yada. And so it looked like the officer didn't want to answer those questions and preferred to have his, what's the word I'm looking for here? God complex. And they forced him out of the vehicle, which they shouldn't have done. They should have gone at this a more calm, cool manner, based on what I saw in the video. Now, I was looking at my watch. It went off. It goes off every hour. Now, from what's the real troubling situation thing is that it was where he had his knee. His knee was not supposed to be on his neck. It was supposed to be on his back to prevent him from getting up and trying to roll away. I don't know why his knee would be on his neck in the first place. That's because I know the type of position that he had, that he was trying to use, but he did it completely wrong, in my opinion. Because yeah, you can talk when you're being choked and you're suffocating. Yes, you can still speak. Yes, you can still speak. As I just strangled myself to demonstrate I'm still speaking to you. My voice sounded a little off as I squeezed on the windpipes. But yeah, you can still speak. So yeah, when someone's saying they can't breathe, they can't breathe. When it's choking on something because they have something stuck in their windpipes, they might not be able to talk properly or at all. But when you're just crushing that windpipe, yeah, you can still speak. And they said 9 minutes. Yeah, 9 minutes, I agree, is way too long. I'm trying to put it in the right words into how I'm feeling, because I don't know if I guess what I'm thinking and feeling is, during that moment of where the crowd was standing there, I guess I was just wishing for someone to just bum rush the officer off this guy, and the crowd to just prevent the police officers from taking this man's life, because everything they did and said was wrong. He's fine. He's talking. It means nothing. And I know I'm repeating myself, but I want to get that point across. I'm trying to bring up several other case instances, like for the previous black guy who was just walking around searching a house. Okay, yeah, it was suspicious for him to jog in another neighborhood, but maybe his neighborhood isn't safe enough to jog in, and he'd like to get his run on. I like to get my jog on too, but I don't think my neighborhood is safe enough. So I bought myself a treadmill to jog inside my house. And that guy, and he was just minding his own business. Yeah, he wandered inside of a house. He's probably checking it out. And that was an unjust killing of a black, where these guys took matters into their own hands. And strangely enough, one was an off-duty police officer or a retired cop. But what I'm about to say might get me a few criticisms, but I don't think it's a race issue with cops. I think it's a tyranny issue. And the reason why I say that is because thanks to YouTube channels like SNN News, Audit the Audit, Where's the Common Sense, and there's another one. I can't recall this channel. You know, all the other YouTube channels that focus mainly on police interactions with their communities, and even Tim Pool himself sometimes. They've kind of shown me that it's not just blacks that get it bad by police interactions. One example of that is a story about an 80-year-old white man in his own home got shot and killed because someone thought that they had a meth lab going on. Turns out it was just paint fumes. And how this man died was that they bum rushed through the door, guns drawn. One officer enters his room as he's in his bed, sleep, busts open the door, shoots him in his bed, and then announces that he's police. Unjust killing right there from a white guy. And another one was it was kind of similar to the Floyd. Thankfully he wasn't killed, but 50-year-old white man, I think he was 50, not 100% sure. What happened with him? He was deaf and a mute, meaning he can't speak and he can't hear, so he does sign language. And what happened with this guy was someone had patted him on the shoulder and pointed out that he was getting ticketed. So the guy rushed over to the officer. He can't speak. Once again, he's a mute. He tries to do sign language in order to reason with the officer, or try his best to speak, but he can't. And due to the fact that there was an accidental small contact with the when he was doing his sign language with the female officer, she took it as assault, and 4 officers just pounced on this dude. And you can hear in the video of that interaction that he's deaf and mute. He can't speak. He can't hear you. And they're just ushering him commands. He's deaf and mute. Repeatedly is being shouted at these police officers, and they're still just wailing and assaulting him. And at the end of it all, he got a broken jaw. His wrist was messed up. His forehead was busted open. He was pretty much beaten, bloodied, and bruised by the police. And another one, I'm trying to remember the third one I once saw that did result in the death of a white person by a cop, where this guy did nothing. I'm trying to remember full details. That way you can all look it up. But I know it involved a traffic interaction, and this guy was basically saying, like, why'd you pull me over? Why'd you pull me over? And he wasn't giving them these answers. And so, cops started, getting annoyed and flustered at the fact that his authority was put in check, because there are laws, policies, and procedures that police officers must follow in order to keep that level of trust up with citizens. And he wasn't doing that. He was just demanding. And so when he started saying, step out of the vehicle, do this, do that, he refused. He pulls out a taser, shoots the guy with the taser, doesn't work, and he pulls out his firearm, telling him, get out. He's saying, no, you just tased me. And so the dude wrestles with the guy, and as the civilian is trying to defend himself, the officer shoots him, and that's how he died. I cannot recall which, because that was like about 5 years ago, I think it was. And and while I am still saying that, what happened to this guy was unjustifiable and wrong. Everyone is saying it's unjustifiable and wrong. And these police officers losing their job is not enough. No, it's never enough. Because the 3 stories I just told you about that involve these officers, they're still on the force. They're still in the streets. I do believe we need to have higher accountability, because this is unacceptable. This is really unacceptable. I don't mean to make this video long, but I gotta go into details as to why I say, the rioting is not the answer, the looting is not the answer, because all that's gonna do is say, for these certain type of people will say, they'll use this rioting, this looting, to justify these cops' actions. We don't need that. I prefer the protest that happened at the police station where they all chanted out, "I can't breathe." I preferred that protest. I prefer protests where people are holding up signs that say, my rights, my constitutional rights do not end when police appear, which is the hashtag I made on my Twitter. You can follow me at The Ideal Gang. I would prefer a protest where people are just protesting using their First through Fifth Amendment rights in front of police stations, videotaping police in public areas, videotaping the police station in public areas, knowing their laws about their gun rights. If you can open carry and walk in front of a police officer, not doing anything except following your Second Amendment rights. Just I would prefer if you rub the Constitution in their face. And say, because when these officers fail to uphold our Constitution, who can we trust? Who can we trust to uphold the law? Which is also why I've uploaded a couple of RoboCop pictures and memes and his prime directives. And RoboCop, if you don't know what RoboCop's prime directives are, it's serve the public trust, protect the innocent, and uphold the law. And that's not what we're getting with our police officers. And I know that RoboCop is a work of fiction. I'm just saying that an example. If he's got these three main prime directives where he follows them down to a T, which kind of which OCP was smart to upload those things. If he's forced to obey three prime directives, that can build up a lot of trust. Because if it were me, here's what I think the solution is that we need to move our complaint department straight to your city hall. If you have a complaint about a certain officer, those complaints need to be filed at City Hall, because based on a video I saw where people were trying to file complaints anonymously at the police station, which they can, police were giving them a hard time, demanding that they know who's the one filing this complaint. Another video was brought to my attention a few months ago, where a guy live streamed trying to file a complaint anonymously. He was followed out of the police station by a cop. He tried to run his license plate and tried to get his VIN number. They blocked his view of the license plate, him and his associate. But when it tried to come to getting his VIN number, he covered it with his hand. The VIN number is always at the front of the is always at the driver's side, front part of the windshield, lower left side or lower right side, depending on which side you're on. And he covered it with his hand, and this guy kept on smashing his hand with his flashlight in order to get his VIN number. That really does make me question, what type of training are these guys getting where they can throw out the Fourth Amendment law, which is the right to not be illegally searched and right for you not to take his property illegally. They throw out the right to face my accuser, or the right to remain silent, or the right to free speech and the right to bear arms constantly. Because there's been a few Second Amendment protesting going around where people are walking around with their legally owned firearms and getting arrested. And when they cite the laws that say, I can carry this gun, and they're saying, no, you can't. I'm like, and when they say the laws that allow them to give them the rights to do X, Y, and Z, they say they just take the rights away. Which is why I once again say, hashtag, my rights don't disappear when the police appear. And I really hope that these guys are trialed and sentenced as soon as possible, because we cannot let these officers get away with this. I believe, and I do personally believe, that it's not a race issue. It's a tyrannical issue. We have too many tyrants and too few good cops out here. The good cops out here are the ones trying to rebuild this trust. The good cops out here are the ones trying to, fix what's wrong with the system. But we've got more tyrants than excellent cops out here. And I guess I'll end it with that. Well, there's one more thing that I've got to stress on. It's, once again, how we handle these protests. We should not be rioting. Yes, you have the right to be upset. Yes, this is unjustifiable, but this is not the answer. All they will do is just use our riots of violence and destruction as an excuse to justify their actions. That's all they will do on whoever would ever dare to defend these so-called officers. Trust me, there's a lot of people who have defended a lot of scummy people, or hypocrites, or movements that have had bad people. We must maintain that peaceful protest. Either by following our constitutional rights, just invoking our First Amendment, our Second Amendment, all of our constitutional rights that have warrant police trying to go above and beyond it. And that's all I gotta say. I love you all. Be safe. Do right. And show your support in obtaining justice. Have a nice day.